Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, continuing with our freshman spotlight series as we go back to that 2023 class and talk about some dudes that are going to be putting on their college football uniforms and making a year one impact. And we going down to Athens, Georgia, and talking Jordan Hall, who, you talk about defensive linemen being impact makers year one. You have to be physically ready to play in the trenches. Jordan Hall certainly checks that box. 6'3 and a half, 317 pounds. The craziest part after doing some reading on him, 35 and a half inch arms. That is some insane length for a dude that's 6'4. Kirby Smart during the SEC media days, and this is partly why I wanted to talk Jordan Hall, I think he expressed some concerns with guys stepping up on the defensive line. Where are our havoc makers? His words, not mine. I think a lot of other programs would be very happy with the defensive line Georgia has. Kirby Smart, asking for a little bit more. Jordan Hall could certainly be one of those guys. Now, before we get into the film of Jordan Hall, get into talking about where he fits into that rotation, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support you guys have shown truly does mean a lot, and especially the Georgia fans. Anytime I get a chance to talk some Georgia Bulldogs football, I certainly am gonna. All the Go Dogs in the comment section means a lot to the boys. Appreciate you guys rocking with us, and if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, we've been talking a lot of that 2024 class recruiting. I think we got some fireworks coming up, so if you do enjoy the updates as well, lock in. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. Let's get into Jordan Hall again. 31 tackles for a loss as a junior in high school, early enrollee, and he's a guy, they call him Big Baby, and he's far from a baby. This is a grown man that I think will fit in really, really well to this Georgia defensive line. I want to just get right into the film a little bit, and you're going to see a dude that 6'4", 320 pounds. He's lined up on the inside right over that right guard, and you're going to see a get off that is truly incredible for a guy that is that big. 6'4", 320 pounds, gets off the line of scrimmage before any other defensive lineman, immediately gets in the backfield, and that's something Kirby Smart has talked about. Like, where are guys that are going to get negative plays? Where's that pass rush going to be? Jordan Hall, I think, has that length and explosiveness to be a guy in the pass rush, but also in terms of stopping the run, like his ability to stack up blocks, shed them, get into the backfield, and make plays. He's going to be, you have to love it as a linebacker to play behind a guy like Jordan Hall. And going back to that rep, you're going to see him line up on the edge. And that kind of just talks about how athletic he is. He's playing outside the tackle right here and puts a really nice move in, inside move, and then the closing speed to tackle the quarterback. This is truly a freaky level athlete. There's a reason he's a 5-star. There's a reason he's the second best defensive lineman in the class. This dude lives in the backfield. Kirby Smart asked for game wreckers, havoc makers. I think he certainly found one in Jordan Hall, who, again, I don't think he'll start per se, but Georgia rotates that defensive line a lot. And I think Jordan Hall is going to be a guy that is really, really hard to keep off the field. And that's kind of the next thing I want to talk about with Georgia. And if you guys have listened, a lot of the Georgia fans have already heard me say this. What's so special about Georgia is the defensive line rotation and depth. A lot of other defenses across the country, they have a big drop off. If they take their starting defensive line out and they try to rotate out, I think Florida really fell victim to this last year. They didn't have the guys that could really play. Georgia, the last 2 years, and it'll be the same thing in year 3, they got NFL guys on their second deep and third deep. You take back to the 2021 season, Jalen Carter coming off the bench, essentially. He's a top 10 NFL draft pick. You had Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, Jalen Carter, and even guys like Nazir Stackhouse, Zion Loke, who don't get nearly the credit they deserve because there's guys like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the team. Those guys are NFL players. Like, they will be picked in the NFL draft come 12 months from now. That's why this Georgia defense has been so special, especially on the defensive line. Yes, they have that NFL star talent, but the depth they have when they want to rotate their guys, it's bar none. Nobody has a deeper and more dominant defensive line than the Georgia Bulldogs. And Kirby Smart may be saying, hey, we're calling some guys out who are going to be, the depth is there. I think most people would agree the depth is there. Who's going to be the impact players? Who's going to give that pass rush on the defensive line? Because he talked about, are we going to have to find things to get pass rush? Or are we going to be able to get pass rush with our front four? Mikael Williams, he's going to be the first guy. And obviously, I think he's going to be an All-American. I think he's arguably the best edge rusher in the country going into year 2. Jordan Hall, with that 35.5-inch arms, how explosive he is off the line of scrimmage. He's going to be a guy that you can have on first and second down because he's going to be able to hold up in that run game, can eat some double teams up, stack and shed some blocks and make tackles. But how explosive he is and the length that he has in terms of the pass rush, that's where I think really Jordan Hall fits into this Georgia defensive line. And Kirby Smart asked for who are our game wreckers up front. I think Jordan Hall, again, I don't know if he starts. I don't know if he leads the team in snaps on the defensive line. But Jordan Hall is going to be playing year 1 in Athens, Georgia, just because of how physically mature he is. And that's the biggest thing you talk about, right? Is if you're a defensive lineman, like you have to be physically mature, especially in the SEC, to play year 1. Jordan Hall, early enrollee, so he got into the winter workouts. He's a guy, 6'4", 320 pounds. That's a grown man. They call him Big Baby. He ain't a baby. He's a grown man. Jordan Hall is going to be making a difference for Georgia year 1. Deserve the freshman spotlight. We got another one for Georgia coming. So, again, if you guys do enjoy the updates, enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Dog fans, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.